And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Iron Lord. Oh, wait, wrong show. What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Attic Show, where we talk about the past, present, and future of gaming. I got my co-host with me, Dirk Gergie. What's going on, Dirk?
Yeah, what's up, Attic? It's a lot to talk about, man. What's going on, man? I heard you were being hunted by certain types of people out there in these Twitter streets.
Oh no, I'm being chased down. I'm being chased through the streets. They're not feeling me right now. They're not feeling me. They feel like I have. What's funny is the Xbox people came at me last week, and now the PlayStation people are at me this week. And it's just like, look, like I get it. Tomorrow I'm gonna make a video on the event that we had today. It's not gonna be mad negative, but I'm gonna have some critiques, and I'm sure some of the Xbox people might go like that. But it is what it is because I'm gonna do it anyway. It's just like, look, like, and then I had someone that came to that commented and was like, well, maybe it's because the thumbnail is just mad negative. No, the thumbnail was about Spider-Man being broken. Well, not broken. I think that's a strong word. High bugs.
Right.
And that's what the video was about. The video wasn't no review. It wasn't no impressions. So it's just like, what? In that case, you're trying to have me do a toxic positivity. It's like, no, that's not what the video was about. The video was about the fact that I personally feel like the game delivered an unacceptable point. And I even think that it's not, there's a difference between being broken dirt and being unplayable. Would you not agree?
Absolutely.
Spider-Man's playable because of the checkpoint system they have implemented in this game. It's playable. But I would, if you don't want to deal with none of that nonsense, I would not look at you sideways if you was like, I'm gonna wait for, a sale.
Yeah, I started playing it yesterday.
What's your early impressions?
Well, so far it's pretty cool. I had the Sandman fight because I'm still, I just started playing it. I did that boss fight, and that's it. So I haven't run into any bugs yet. But yeah, I mean that part was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just like, look, people didn't like my stance when it comes to the Superman stuff, superhero stuff last week, and now I will say the PlayStation people have been on my ass more. They don't like my thumbnail. I'll show you guys my thumbnail for those of you that didn't see it. Let me show my screen. People definitely ain't feeling this thumbnail, and I get it, but they need to realize we don't care. Like, see, here's my thumbnail, guys. This is what it looks like on my end as my thumbnail.
I think that's a good thumbnail, man. Why they hating, man?
They hating because it doesn't fit their narrative. Exactly. They didn't have an issue. And what's funny is I got like, this thumbnail. I got all these thumbnails. I make a lot of videos. I you don't really know it until I like look at my thumbnails, but I make a lot of videos. And see, what's funny is like they didn't mind the videos where I'm like criticizing Xbox. When I say I think they're lacking in the Japanese department. I think they need to do better on their shows. What's funny is a lot of things I've criticized Xbox on, they've improved. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, you know how it is, Attic. See, like when I have problems with guys, that go out there and say something like, I totally disagree with the superhero thing. Mostly my beef was mostly, bro, they are in the best position they have ever been. Come on, man. This is not the time to be complaining about something else. We're not, you know what I'm saying? So like when I got into it with D Batch, it was like, come on, man. Some of the stuff that he was saying, I was like, bro, you can't.
Yeah, people said they said he's gonna make a video on me. I don't know if
about you.
Yeah, because I made that video. You know how it is though. People be like dragging the truth. Maybe he commented on my video or something. Yeah. And he's not gonna make a video on me. I think he would have made one by now. But it's like even if he does, it's like, look, it's my opinion, just like whatever your opinion is on me, that's your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, that's the community we're in. You know, people are going to agree with us, people are going to disagree with us, and that's it, man. That's it. That's just how it is.
It feels like they low key want like echo chambers, and it's like, look, me and Dirt might have different opinions, but the end of the road is the same. We want a better Xbox ecosystem. And what's funny is like the PlayStation, a lot of these PlayStations, they don't want a better Xbox ecosystem.
Oh, no.
They want to maintain their stuff. So, all right. So someone did bring up okay, right here. Someone said, kind of new to the channel. Is this channel owned by Colin's Last Stand Media, or is it, it's its own thing? This channel is the channel for ILP. I just, have it on this channel. I have my show on this channel, but pretty much this channel, we talk about a lot. This Addict Show is a multi-podcast channel. We talk about everything, but we are definitely favorite the green. We definitely favorite the green. So yeah, that answers your question for you. Let's get into the news. We got some stuff to talk about. First off, I want to talk about the Spider-Man 2 bugs, because I got a lot of hate for this. This is what my video is about, and obviously, if I can upset some people that was upset already, I'm gonna do it because they were coming at me hardcore. So obviously, you said you're not too far into the game, so you can't really speak a whole lot about the bugs, but just what you've seen on Twitter that doesn't involve still shots, because I think still shots is easy to trick.
100%.
Besides those, I'm talking strictly about in motion glitches. What have you seen?
I've seen a ton, bro. I mean, we've seen several videos of people that was live streaming and a glitch will happen. I don't know if you saw Fatanga video, but he had a concoction of like a compilation of different streamers, different bugs. I had a few in my latest video. So yeah, this is a real thing. But let me say this, Addict. I do want to say this. All games have bugs, right? Some obviously have more than others. So when we point out these bugs, like there's bugs in Starfield, there's bugs in any game. 100%. So it's like us Xbox fans, we're making fun of these guys because they did it to us. That's how I can't speak for all Xbox dudes, but that's what I feel, bro. We're making fun because they did it to us, and we still trying to justify the 90 that it got. Like the 91, okay, it's a great game, but damn. I mean, why do bugs affect some games and some games it doesn't? Now I know they said the patch, the launch day patch is what caused the bugs. Damn, that's unfortunate if that's what really happened. If the
how do you address that?
I don't know, bro. I mean,
as a reviewer, I didn't get a code for Spider-Man 2, but I don't know how I would address going out recommending a game to someone, and then right afterwards, the day one patch just messes the whole game up. I'm kind of curious how that even happened. Did they not test it? Like it's just like, what the day one patch is supposed to fix things. How did it mess things up more?
Yeah, I mean, that makes no sense to me. I mean, we've seen patches that might have had, added some type of issues to the game, but I've never seen a patch that added this many bugs, because there's even some hardcore PlayStation guys being honest, like, yo, man, this game is a buggy mess. It's still a good game, of course. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I don't think nobody is saying it's a bad game. But let's be real here. From what we've seen, like I'm only about 30 minutes into the game, so I haven't seen any bugs yet. But we've seen from live streamers, from clips, even PlayStation guys that have been posting clips like, yo, what is this? Not the hardcore ponies, but some of the guys that's more honest. It is what it is, man. I mean, we can't sit here and say the game isn't buggy.
Do you think reviewers are lying that it was, or do you think that they're not telling the truth on that because they're scared to get blacklisted by PlayStation? Or do you think they're being genuine that there was no issues? Because ACG did co-sign that there was no issues, like very, very few issues. I would use the term for. So I trust him. I do feel like even if Sony held a gun to his head, it was like, yo, if you say there's bugs in this game, we ending our relationship with you. ACG would still tell people. So like I trust him.
Right.
But it's just like, King said, it's like they looked at ACG and they're like, we have an out. Like it's like they jumped out in front of it. And it was like, it didn't feel coordinated, but it did feel like people were tweeting that around the same time.
You asked a great question, bro. You asked a great question. And do you think some of the guys are faking? I mean, like you said, ACG seems to be a trustworthy guy, so I would say no. But I think it's where some of the issues come is how does this happen? Insomniac is a great developer, a quality developer. How did this happen? Like, how did a patch cause this many issues?
Did you see that they are all the people that haven't reviewed the game yet?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there's still a bunch. Not like an absurd amount, but there's still people that haven't reviewed the game. So let me scroll to it.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there's people. You have to go to the bottom to see it. Yeah, so you could see what I share, right? On your side?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let me share this. All right, so here is, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
So here is the
Polygon
companies that
wow. Polygon, The Verge, Kotaku, the AV Club, Giant Bomb. Damn. None of these people have reviewed it. That's weird.
And I think these people are just people that are verified they have a code, because they came and gave some type of like sentence, like, this dude gave it a 70. What I've noticed is you're seeing huge jumps between people that got the game before and people got the game after. Like, that's the reason like these companies haven't reviewed the game yet, because they're playing it now. Now I'm curious if they're just taking a little bit of time to play because it's so long, or if they got the code after it came out.
But even if they got it after it came out, man, it's not like it's a long game like Starfield.
But you got to keep. It's not just reviewing the game.
Okay.
Like these people got to they got to write it up. They got editors.
Okay.
Like this is a little bit of a process. Now, when it comes to someone like me, I can just do a review, pop it out there, put some gameplay in it, edit it really nice, pop it out there. They got to go through an editor. An editor got to okay. Then they got to go through the process of videoing. Like there is a little bit of a process when it comes to what they're doing on their end. Okay. So I'm kind of curious on that. And, we got to, like I said, sometimes media is very, they're very entitled. So it's just like, when they review these games, if these developers did not get a review code, they're already blacklisted from PlayStation to some degree.
Wow.
So what does that mean? They're playing, you can argue a way buggier game than the reviewers that are playing now.
Right.
So it's just like, it's going to be interesting to see if this 90 stays a 90. I kind of expect it to go down a point, or maybe even 2, depending on how bad their experience is playing with all these bugs. And it's like I said, I'm not going to say any of these companies would review bomb a game to make a statement because they didn't get a review code. But sometimes, like I said, ain't nothing more entitled than a prominent review outlet not getting a review code.
Right. It's interesting stuff right there, man.
It is what it is at this point. I don't really care what it reviews as. I think it's a fantastic game. It definitely is a 90+ game if it's working correctly. But because there is a lot of issues, I'm kind of curious where it's going to sit at. Like, I'm kind of curious if it's going to go down or up. I would be very surprised if it went up.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised at this point.
Hey man, let me say this before you get to the super chats, because the people in the chat has been bringing it up, but I totally forget that some of the reason I got into it with another YouTuber is because they saying people was forcing bugs, and I saw like another comment, people said another podcast was saying people was forcing bugs, and that's what really pissed me off.
Let's talk about that ideal in general.
Mm-hmm.
If you can force bugs to this degree,
right,
the game's already broken.
And 100%.
You
that
know,
was some of the reasons I was upset. Like, come on, people ain't forcing bugs, bro.
It's just like they're like, oh, it's scripted. So you go off a script and the game just breaks.
Yeah.
Like if you notice when you play a mission in Spider-Man, if you go out of the boundaries, it will say go back to this area. You're leaving the mission area.
Mm-hmm.
That is how they enforce you staying in a certain area.
Right.
They didn't do that with the bike. The bike has fallen through multiple forms of the ground. So that's not it. Like people are just, I don't understand why so many people are defending this. I even still recommended it. I said, yo, if you can get through all these issues, because to me, it's like there's game breaking bugs, but the checkpoint system makes it a lot more forgiving. Mm-hmm. I was like, if you're willing to deal with that, then I would say it. But if you don't want to wait, I wouldn't blame you. Right. But it's just like, I do feel like there are Xbox and PlayStation people that every time one of these games like Starfield or Spider-Man comes out, they got to speak out because they want to feel like they're neutral. Like they're willing to attack stuff they see. And it's just like, dude, we get it. Like you want PlayStation fans following you. Like we get it. That's why I understand that to a point, because people will call me like an Xbox fanboy or something. And,
I fully embrace it. Of course, you know that.
See, like me and you are different because I do want to make PlayStation content. I don't make a lot of it, but I don't want to be seen as someone that just hates PlayStation for no reason. If you look at all my videos, I do keep it in the middle to a degree. Sure, I might joke around because it's funny and because PlayStation people put at my throat for years. Mm-hmm. But to a point, I do try to keep it realistic in the middle. So I try to, because I feel like people, they get the word fan and fanboy mixed up. I don't want to be known as the people spoiling Spider-Man. I want to be known as the person that it's like, because I like reviews. I love reviews. So it's like, if I'm automatically deemed that and I can't make reviews because people are going to automatically assume that I'm corrupted. Oh, why would we watch a Last of Us Part 3 review from Addict? Because he's just gonna shit on the game. You know what I'm saying? So It's just like, it's crazy, man. People be moving around in these streets. I don't know why they do it, but they be doing it.
Yeah. It's like with me, you know what to expect from me. So that's why I'm like, transparency is the key. Like you said, some people try to play neutral, try to appease to everybody. You can't appease to everybody.
See, I've been very clear. It's like, look, my preferred platform is Xbox. And what's funny is like, it's like I told people when it come to the people spoiling Starfield, people want to act like that didn't happen. Like people wasn't spoiling Starfield. It's like, what did you think the Xbox tryhards were going to do?
They went on a hate campaign about Starfield, bro, for months.
And you know what's funny? You can spoil Spider-Man way easier than you could spoil Starfield. And it's like, where did you think these people are going? I'm not co-signing their behavior, but sometimes what you throw out comes back. It's stronger and it hits you in the damn face. And it's just like, if both sides would put arms down, there won't be no issue. But the problem is now, because of this Spider-Man thing, because of what 3 or 4 people did on Twitter spoiling Spider-Man, and they were very good, Dirt. They were good. I had it spoiled to me, and they put it in a Starfield video.
Oh wow!
So I clicked on a Starfield video because it looked like it was something I cared about, and then bam, spoiler. And I'm like, I could like, how your brain will read something before your mind understands what you're reading. So I already read the whole sentence.
Right.
And then after that, I was like, that's a wrap. And I kind of try to like tell myself I didn't see it. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I read it wrong. Like,
No, I was saying Addict. Halo Infinite. I got 3 different DMs. People DM me spoiling Halo Infinite. I quickly deleted 2 of them, but one of them I accidentally read a little bit. I said, "Oh, he's trying to spoil Halo Infinite." So this has been going on for a while, man. But that's the thing. But like I hate the people that go online. If you're spoiling Spider-Man, you're just an a-hole, which they probably are. But you didn't say that same thing with Starfield. I mean, some people did, but some people didn't. So it is what it is, man.
I went out and I just said, "Yo, this ain't cool." Because if you're spoiling Spider-Man, you're spoiling me too. Yeah, there was some collateral damage, man. People like me that didn't spoil Starfield, I got hit with that spirit bomb just like the dude right next to me. It's just like, there's more creative ways to get back at people. You should create a YouTube channel, get traction, and talk shit. That's what you should do.
That's what you should do.
Don't go on and just start spoiling stuff on Twitter because it's just like you don't need to. There's plenty of other ways to get under the people's skin. All right, so let's get these super chats. We got a $5 super chat from the Angry Therapist. The game needed more time to cook. I think Sony was like, we have to put something out, and they forced this game out. I would agree to a degree. I'm kind of curious how. So once you go back and play this game without the day one patch on disc and see what happens.
But the disc wasn't installing, was it?
We got Raiden Blade with the member chat. He's been a member for 31 months. Dirt Dark Wonder Man. I hate you. My girls think you're the real dark chocolate. Love you, bro. Oh yeah, and the DMS, the DRM PS5 Slim. Remember Xbox One, PS4 DRM? Actually, we could talk about that. Let's talk about that after we read these super chats. $20 super chat from Face to Brooklyn, New York.
Yep.
People are gonna go even harder on Xbox game with bugs, reviews, impressions after this back and forth. The new Xbox game gonna get hit hard. Hate to break it to your face, they're gonna go hard on Xbox game regardless what happened.
Regardless.
Got a $2 super chat from I got so. You and D good, or you still some. I ain't saying that part, but
yeah, he's talking about because when me and D Bass got into it, he said you need some, come on, man. Married man with 4 kids, stop it. I was like, come on, with these childish insults, bro. Come on, man.
It's like we grown.
Yeah, come on.
Why is that the number one assault that people use?
I don't know.
You don't get no ass. That's like the number one thing that they love to say is, I want you to go out and touch grass. It's like, dude, so like, what's funny is like you look at people like Cognito. Cognito's built like it's like people be acting like everyone besides me, because I'm definitely I need to hit the gym a little more. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you guys like that.
Yeah,
but
it's
just like, dude, stop it. We just enjoy the game, and it's like when you lose an argument, if the first thing you have to think of is, yo, let's throw the you don't have a life card. It's like, they ain't gonna work on me, because guess what? I know I don't got a life. So it's like, what you gonna say that I don't already know?
Oh man, yeah. So it's it's all crazy. It's stupid to me.
All right, so let's talk about the PlayStation DRM, which is insane. I'm kind of curious what your opinion on it is. So go ahead.
You might be disappointed in my opinion, bro. The Xbox homies, you might be disappointed in my opinion.
You don't care.
I don't care. I don't give a damn, bro. That's not even a talking point to me. I like to grab ammunition for the console war, and this is just
like
me.
I didn't even make a video about that.
I don't give a damn, bro. For me personally, I just don't care. I don't.
We don't care. What's that dude in the sports that does that? We don't
Stephen
care.
A. Smith. Let me tell you something. We don't care. That's how I hear right now. I just don't care, bro. It's all my Xbox homies, the Raiden Blade with the super chat. Y'all the homies. But that's just not anything. I just don't care.
It comes down to it. It's like, look, at the end of the day, Sony going to protect their brand. If people can just go out there and buy a third party one for a fraction of the price because this thing is mad expensive for what they're offering, they're going to do that. I don't blame them for trying to make sure, no, you buying our stuff. They should give you the option, but then to be honest, it's hard to tell how this was thrown together. So maybe it only works with that disk drive to the degree they need it to. Imagine like a PlayStation just sitting out with the side off and it's just a wire and there's like it's just like, man. I understand. I understand. I'm not going to sit here and try to act like they shouldn't be doing this. They should give you the option. But when you're dealing with a company that makes hardware, first off, when you're dealing with PlayStation, because clearly the only thing they care about is about the payers. They want your pennies, your dollars. They want your kids' trust fund accounts. They want your kids' college accounts. They want it all.
They want all that.
They don't care about your kids going to school. They're like, give them a PlayStation 5. That'll be fine. Like, it's insane, man. And they should give you the option. But at the end of the day, are we gonna complain about it? See, I'm all digital, so none of this matters to me.
Right. That's kind of where I'm at, bro. It just doesn't matter. When Xbox tried to do it in 2013, the media went crazy about it. But honestly, guys, it's 10 years later. The world is in a different place. DRM is funny because of the hypocrisy. It's funny, but me personally, there's so many other things that's going wrong with PlayStation I'd rather talk about than this. That's just me. I know we tried to use it for some trash talking.
We're going to get to it, but there is way more.
Yeah, there's way more stuff I'd rather talk about than the DRM.
That as big as that does sound, because that is pretty big. As big as that is, we're going to talk about pretty much as equivalent to like getting hit with a spirit bomb straight in the face. Like right now, we just talking about, Goku doing an instant transportation and just punching you. It might give you a bloody nose, but what we about to talk about is the haymaker, man. It's that father and son Kamehameha wave, man. It's that spirit bomb, super spirit bomb to the face.
Oh man.
Yeah, we about to get into that. So it's like I said, it wasn't really a whole lot to talk about when it comes to that. But let's talk about this Xbox stuff. There has been a report that apparently they're changing how executives make money when it comes to finances. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So apparently they're not doing it solely off of Game Pass anymore. It's to my knowledge, to my understanding, it's more of a general thing. Like the whole brand growing, they get paid.
Yeah.
What do you feel that's an issue? Do you feel like that shows that Game Pass is failing? Like, what's your opinions on that?
No, we can't say Game Pass is failing, and then they say Starfield had the caused the biggest one-day subscribers to Game Pass. I mean, no, man. I just think sometimes they change the way they do metrics. I mean, I don't think Game Pass is definitely not failing. I think Game Pass is doing fine because they're constantly investing in Game Pass, and Microsoft has a history of maybe letting stuff go, but they're doing fine, man.
Yeah, I actually am happy they did this. Because I did feel like the company was swaying way too much towards Game Pass. Like, I always felt like the ecosystem itself needs to be the body, and Game Pass is just an arm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yep,
I want Game Pass to be a tool that Xbox uses to compete. I don't want it to be the identity of Xbox. And 100%. I felt like they were going more towards the Game Pass bag than anything else.
I agree with that. That was a great analogy. I like that.
Yeah, I want, I don't mind the Game Pass bags, but I think, the first party, unique third party, and second party, those make more sense. But I didn't like the fact that they weren't going for marketing because they couldn't get Game Pass in it. I didn't like the fact that they weren't trying to get timed exclusives because they couldn't get it in Game Pass. It's like, look, Game Pass is a huge essential tool that Microsoft can use to compete, but it cannot be the end all be all. Because I felt like they were stabbing themselves in the back trying to make that. And you know how I know that's where we're going? Because if you last couple events, the first like 4 years of Game Pass's existence, every event we saw from them was Game Pass is doing this. Game Pass is doing that. Every game has Game Pass.
Yeah.
You get Game Pass. You get Game Pass. Like,
yeah.
But now Game Pass is present every event. But that last event we just did, that was a partnered showcase, which we're about to talk about that too. And guess what? Like one game was Game Pass.
I agree with that.
And to me, it's more important to build a brand that is friendly with everything and not just the people that's willing to put their game in Game Pass.
I agree with that. It seemed like their focus was mostly was 100% Game Pass, and because of that, sometimes the content they show was focused on Game Pass, meaning they probably didn't show some things or some third-party deals that wasn't part of Game Pass, but they wanted to say at the end of the show or at the beginning of the show, everything we're showing here is in Game Pass. So I agree with that, but at the same time, like Mav just put in there, content and services was up, and I'm pretty sure Game Pass is a part of that, right?
Yeah,
so yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Obviously, they could never get rid of Game Pass because it would be a PR nightmare.
Oh, cool.
I personally feel like they'd be fine. They'd get hit with a huge PR, but if they start dropping good games, people would just completely ignore that shit. Because gamers go where the games are. It doesn't matter what it is. If Nintendo Wii U could survive and make a Switch, and the PS3 could survive and make a PS4 and be successful on both of those fronts with the horrible PR that both of those individual products are in, they could easily go that way. Are they? Most likely not. But I think as long as you have the good games, people will go wherever you are. If they could literally remove Game Pass without bad backlash, do you think they would?
No, I think Game Pass is good for them. I think it's sustainable, and I think it's the future. What they're doing is great. If Game Pass was still at 2 million, okay, I got a perfect example. I don't know if you watch WWE, but they had something called the WWE Network, right? They put all of their pay-per-views, their big shows on there. They had a bunch of great content on there. But eventually, they had to sign a deal with Peacock. And Peacock instantly already had like 25 million subscribers. And the reason they did that, because WWE Network wasn't growing. They were stuck at 1.5 million subscribers for like 2 to 3 straight years. They weren't growing. So they had to do something else. Xbox Game Pass, excuse me, is at what? We don't know, but we can assume 25.
I would say it's
between 25 and 30, right?
I would say it's in the 30s by now. Starfield most likely put it in the 30s.
Yeah, so it's still growing. Just like with the YouTube channel, man, if you're stuck at 200 subscribers for 2-3 years, maybe you should look in the mirror and say, what am I doing wrong? But if you're growing, you can get 30 subs a month, but you're still growing. You're going to continue to do what you're doing. So Xbox Game Pass is still growing. Is it growing as fast as they want? I don't know. Maybe not. But I think it's the future, man. Just, that's an advantage they have. And if you look at something like Netflix, how long did it take Netflix to get where they are now? Because I remember Netflix for a while was 4 million and then eventually 5 million. It took them a while. So Xbox Game Pass is going to be great. And that's the reason they've invested so much, because their service is going to be, bro, it's already amazing. It's going to be even more incredible once ABK stuff is in there, man. So
yeah, and I think for the most part, they're going to really grow. And I don't think that they've went away from Game Pass as a focus, but I think they're starting to see more stuff on equal grounds, because of stuff like Call of Duty. They can't really do nothing with Call of Duty right now, but I do think they're starting to look more into console sales, because don't get it twisted. when you start seeing Xbox at the end of every Call of Duty game, people don't realize, you know, I guess you can, you know, it could be pure, you know, coincidence, but every generation, the winner has had the Call of Duty marketing rights.
Yeah. Because the 360 had it the whole generation. PlayStation had it
The majority of the PS4
yeah, like
generation.
the majority of the generation. Yeah, that's true.
Because people don't realize the Call of Duty marketing is just as powerful as the game itself.
Hey, this guy like B Bajar, whatever his name is, Babajar, but I think it has plateaued. You think it has plateaued?
I don't, because sales say that that's not right. You know,
plateaued with the content they're about to have in that service. You think it's plateaued?
We can debate.
Think it must be a pony, brother.
We can debate all we want on the quality of this and the quality of that, but you can't debate numbers. Mm-hmm. And the numbers of Call of Duty comes out in November almost every year and outsells everything the entire year in 1 month.
Even Vanguard did in 2021, and they consider that a weak year.
Every year it outsells everything. And not even a whole month, like 20 days.
Addict, this year's top selling games of 2023. What was number like 4? Call of Duty from last year.
And you know what's funny? If you looked at the 360, like no, the Xbox One, the sales from all of Xbox and PlayStation, Call of Duty was like 5 or 6 of the games.
Like, I remember that. I remember that chart. I remember that. Yeah.
It's like King said. He said all these exclusives don't add up to that one. Like,
and now Xbox owns that one.
Yeah, and not to mention, you know, we're just looking at the marketing. These suckers gonna be in Game Pass day and date.
I'm telling you, man.
And don't think they're gonna plaster that everywhere. You get everywhere. On Xbox, you're gonna see that. Do you think they get ballsy enough to put like ads for Xbox on Warzone? And when you log in on PlayStation, it says something about Xbox on Warzone?
Possibly, man. Listen, because we've seen Xbox has been advertising pretty good lately. Like you said, next year when these games,
you know what they
new
should
Call
do?
of Duty is going to be in Game Pass.
You know what would be the sting to have Warzone make a reach map, and it's on PlayStation too, just fine. It's on PlayStation. But the fact that they got to play on an Xbox map.
Yeah, man, it's great. So you say you think it's plateau. You know, like we disagree with you. Is it BB Jar? I can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, I mean, I just think you know, they have so much content coming. If you're stagnant, if you're content with your content, absolutely, it's probably, you know, would just taper off. It will plateau and don't go any further. But when you constantly adding content, just look at Xbox roadmap and now include ABK in that, include Call of Duty in that on a yearly basis. We saw when Xbox unlocked all of those servers on those 360 Call of Duties, and all of a sudden you saw old Call of Duties sales go up because that game is a monster. It's a beast. And if Xbox advertises this right, because like, don't forget, yes, there's 50 million PS5s out there, about 25 million Xbox Series. But there's still a lot of people that haven't went to next generation yet, which of course is current generation now. So if you can get
people haven't went yet.
Yeah. So but if you can advertise it right and show, yo, the new Call of Duty, you get it in this service, Game Pass, as well as every other Call of Duty ever made, for $10 to $15 a month, plus all of these other games. Some people are going to bite. I'm not saying everybody, but some people will bite. Somebody's gonna bite, man.
Yeah, people don't understand everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny, man. It's funny.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about the PlayStation showcase. You know, that just recently went down today.
The Xbox showcase, buddy.
Oh, Xbox showcase. I don't know, man. I'm just looking at that last topic.
Partner preview. Yeah, the Xbox partner preview.
So we got 39 minutes, and we're gonna say, we'll just say 20 seconds. All right, so let's talk about the Xbox partner preview. So let me go over the actual announcements. So obviously they showed Alan Wake. They showed
looks great.
They showed Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth
Mhm.
gets its own like island resource. I don't know if it's a mini game or a full blown game. They didn't really like.
I think that has to be a game inside of that game, probably.
Yeah, and Cox said he didn't really like the way they showed that because it makes it look like that's the game.
Yeah.
Then we finally saw Ark Survival revealed, Ascended,
which is like a remaster or something.
Yeah, it's
right?
a remaster of the first. Apparently, that's out right now.
Yeah, I saw somebody put it in the chat earlier.
Then we saw a Manor Lords gets a
Mhm.
PC release date, and it is coming to console eventually.
Mhm.
Then we saw RoboCop.
That I you know what? I think I might pick that up, bro.
Then we saw the Still Wakes the Deep.
That looks pretty good. Looks creepy
it
as hell
interesting. Dungeons of Heidelberg gameplay.
too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Spirits of the North 2.
Is that the one with the fox?
Yeah.
I thought that looked all right.
This one really surprised me. The finals. The finals look interesting.
That's the first person shooter?
Yeah.
That did look good.
Tomorrow is a beta apparently coming. An
for real?
beta coming to everything.
Is it on consoles?
Everything. Yeah, everything.
It looked pretty good. It did. Yeah, that surprised me too.
Icaro will not die in a fast-paced game with a roguelike element. Yeah, so it's that one where it kind of reminded me of Fury, like more of an asymmetrical Fury. So what did you think about this, man? What was your opinion on this?
I thought it was fine. I thought Xbox was transparency. That's the thing. Transparency. Say, yo, this is a partners preview. There's not going to be any first party stuff. It was 30 minutes long. I thought it was fine. I thought having Metal Gear Solid on there really surprised me. I wasn't expecting that. Of course, we knew Alan Wake was going to be there, and it looked incredible. I literally realized I didn't pre-order it, and after the show I pre-ordered it because I forgot I didn't pre-order it. I thought RoboCop, like we've seen a beta, we've like PC people play the beta. They said, that the game was pretty good. So seeing RoboCop look pretty good. Some of those other games look good. Like you say, what's the game on the water? The Deep or something? The Deep. That game looks good. Creepy atmosphere. So I thought it was fine. I'm not saying it was amazing, but I gave it like an 8 out of 10.
The show was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was the content that didn't really drive me too much, and that's not the show or the content's problem. As a show, it was a good show, but as a show for me, it fell short. For the majority of this, I didn't really care about. But I do know that some of these games, it's really important for Microsoft to show more, indies, show more partners in general, because that's how they maintain this relationship. I like the pacing of the show. I like the atmosphere of the show. It felt very like Nintendo Direct to me. Besides like the thing talking between the slides that happens in Nintendo Direct, I felt like this is what they need to do. Like this format, keep this up. The problem is people are naturally going to want first party at any show done by a console manufacturer. It doesn't matter if they have expectations,
even if they being transparent about it.
Yeah, but people are still going to want the stuff they bought the console for. It's always going to be in the back of their head. You can't knock them, but I don't blame people. It's like, this is cool. I want to see that Hellblade. And I think you will get that. I think the Video Game Awards is coming up here soon.
They'll probably have another Developers Direct. You think like next year, probably
January-ish.
Yeah.
That I do think that this is the direction they need to go with Game Pass announcements. This is the direction they need to go with indie games coming to their platform. Doing more events like this, I feel, will make you more appealing to work with Microsoft and to work with Xbox. This is what they need to do. But as far as like the context, I just wasn't feeling what was shown. And that's just a me problem because I'm selfish. I want what I want. But You know, I did like what I saw on Like a Dragon, but for the most part, I don't care about Alan Wake. I did like what I saw on the finals, but besides that, like they didn't really have a lot for me. You know, it was definitely, you know, it was exciting because I felt like they found a good middle ground to having these type of events. I would have just wanted more stuff that appealed to me, but that's just me.
Well, that's just you. Okay, that's fine. You know what? I disagree. I thought the show was pretty fun. Nice little 30-minute show. They were transparent with you. No first party stuff is going to be here. So if people are still expecting first party stuff, smack yourself. You know that. I mean, listen. If PlayStation had a show and said no first party stuff, just third party stuff, I would expect only third party stuff. So yeah, I thought it was a fine little show,
And
man.
and this was like one of the first things I've really seen where I'm really starting to think that they are, you know, not focusing on Game Pass entirely anymore. Because this type of event 2 years ago, they would only let games within Game Pass and this stuff.
Wholeheartedly. Now I saw Donataku said they only had one Game Pass game. Like one game that was in Game Pass, and that's exactly what Attic is saying. In the past, this show would have been total. They only would have showed games where they had a Game Pass deal. But no, they show us games that's coming to the platform, not only on Game Pass. Now the Game Pass announcements are awesome. Don't get me wrong, but we want to see the games that's not just on Game Pass. You think about it, Attic. I will say this: Alan Wake 2, Metal Gear Solid, those games being at an Xbox show is amazing because, like you mentioned, they only used to show games that was in Game Pass, including big third-party games like Outriders or something else. So even though those two titles I mentioned, Metal Gear Solid 3 and Alan Wake, is not going to be in Game Pass, they showed up at an Xbox show, and I love it.
You got to put yourself in like publishers and developers, you know, in their position. You know, they want to work with Xbox, but I do think Xbox was being very aggressive on making sure games are in Game Pass. And it's like they wouldn't work with you, but it had to be certain conditions where they would work with you if your game wasn't in Game Pass up until now. So, you know, where were you going to go? You got to go Nintendo or PlayStation, because it's like either you give up the rights to where your game goes on that platform or you market with someone else. And that's why I do feel like this is the step in the right direction for Xbox. You know, Game Pass is still pushed, but it's not the end all be all thing. That's why I feel like that's good. You know, and I get it. People don't want to pay for stuff. They want everything in Game Pass. And I understand that because that's the kind of mentality that Microsoft has put in a lot of people for a long time. But, you know, people saying, oh, you know, Game Pass doesn't, you know, it hurts sales. For the most part, I'm not going to sit here and tell you 100% that Game Pass didn't hurt certain game sales. It did. But for the most part, unless it was a first party, those companies got big bags to put their game in Game Pass.
I know what game it didn't hurt at it.
What?
Starfield. They won't get these super chats broke because they stacking up on you.
Yeah, let me grab them real quick. I apologize, guys. We just got in a good conversation. We got a $5 super chat from Ray
Remember. Yeah.
Remember, Dirt, you have to stay on the scripted path.
Yeah, he's making fun with somebody
Spiderman.
Yeah, stay on the scripted path. Like, isn't it an open world game, bro?
Yeah, I don't know what they're going off with that. $5 super chat from Oxygard. Man, these dudes talking ish, man. Dirt, you already know we stand with you 100%. WBGTTS all day, every day, every
Thank
single
you, Onyx
day.
Guard. Appreciate you, fam.
We got $2 super chat.
Come on, E-Man.
Dirt, I love you always. See your suit. Yeah,
I'm not wearing a symbiote suit, you POS. I'm not Venom.
Yeah, well, first off, Venom's a little bit darker than you are.
Yes, he's definitely darker than me.
Yeah, $2 super chat from Gamer by Choice. When people have no arguments, they get personal. Totally agree.
All the time, bro. I see it all the time.
$10 super chat from Dwayne Covito.
I call him Calavito. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but yeah.
I feel that Microsoft now has enough game developers out that they can go full force on Game Pass and crack out more games now that than they used to. It's a win-win or both sides now. Yeah, I do. I think the amount of content you're about to see from Microsoft, you've never seen any publisher ever do. You got to fight out Super Cobweb.
Plateau.
Plateaued. Game Pass grew 28% in 2022, and that was a horrible year. They'll get subscribers as long as the content is quality and consistent.
100%.
That is a big thing that people keep forgetting. You know, you have to have the consistency of good to great games. You can't have bad games. You know, I hate to use Metacritic, but it's like, you know, you pop you out some 80, 85, 90 pluses. You pop you out like 7, 8 of those a year. It don't matter what the other side's doing. People are going to go where they're playing games more.
100%.
$2 super chat from God Emperor Sofa King. Alan Wake is an L because it is an Epic exclusive PC. I'll go where the games are. If you have to go to an Epic launcher to play it, I say by all means to. First off, I'm pro Epic. Just going to point that out there. You know, not necessarily Sofa King, but PC fanboys have attacked me on all sides for years.
David Jaffe's in the chat. What's up, brother?
What's up, Jaffe? David, we might have to, you know, let me. David Jaffe, my dude, Jaffe. You know, I know there was a little bit of friction. There's a little bit of friction with Cognito past. I'm pretty sure that's cleared up now. I would appreciate you coming and join our presence on ILP this Sunday. You know, I would like that. I think obviously there's the cussing thing. You know, we try to keep it PG. You try to keep it PG, but you know, I think you would give a unique perspective to this and specifically show because of how close it is. And first off, let's shout out to people telling David Jaffe, the person who worked with PlayStation for years, doesn't know anything about the Connie situation. That makes no sense to me.
I saw some PlayStation fans say, but yes, come on, man.
If there's anyone I'm going to believe on the matter, it's going to be Jaffe. Jaffe, if you want a link, tell me. You know, I'll let you pop through here and you can give your bar.
He's eating.
He's eating. $2 super chat from Top Shutota.
Top Shada.
Top Shada. This is the first party shows coming up at BlizzCon. Yeah, because they own Blizzard, so BlizzCon.
Oh, you said send it, Addict.
Okay. This is gonna be interesting.
He said he got a big info dump an hour ago. New video.
Oh, a big info dump an hour ago.
Nice. I'll read this, bro, while you're doing it. Spartan 661 with the 5. Being an Xbox fan and seeing that third-party games are not as exciting as first-party games being released on Xbox platforms is showing the narrative. You saying seeing that third-party games are not as exciting. It's showing the narrative. I'm kind of confused by that statement. What you mean? Maybe I'm acting a little slow.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Yeah. Nintendo the Taku with the 5. Xbox got 40 to 50 projects from first party and publishing coming by 2028. Anyone expecting Game Pass not to grow is crazy. Yeah, I think it's definitely going to grow even more, bro. They're going to have consistent content in that service, and it's going to keep on going.
53 minutes and 20 seconds. We're moving straight to the last one because I want Jaffe to get his bars across the thing that applies to him. That's what I said. Like, I didn't understand people trying to sit there and say like David Jaffe wouldn't have an insight to this. It's like, but when David Jaffe was talking about like criticizing Xbox, they were all over David Jaffe. Like,
when David Jaffe be roasting Phil, they love it. Hey, David Jaffe, you be speaking facts. But because he said he had some info, he said, did you send a link in Discord?
I sent it to him on Twitter.
Oh.
So, all right. We got some bad news when it comes to everything going on with PlayStation, man. First off, they've had one hell of a year, and not in a good way. It's been very, it had all these people, especially the industry, you're pulling out for the whole industry. We've had so many jobs lost. It's crazy. We've had record-breaking games making the most money, and then they'll turn right around and lay off half their staff. Like it's sad, man. It's sad.
Man.
You know, I call it quarter chasing. You know, chasing quarter to quarter to make more money to the last. And if you're not going to make it off your own merits and your own products, you're going to make it off cutting salaries. And it's sad the way the industry. Well, it's not just this industry. Everyone does it, and you know, it's pathetic. It really is. You know, people. You know, I can understand if a game didn't do well, but a game will do well and they'll still get cut.
That's crazy, man.
So, you know, first off, I want to inform on the chat. You know, David Jaffe, he tends to cuss a little bit. You know, this is an ILP. He has a little bit loose on here, but I'm saying right now, the Addict Show is PG-13. Okay, I can't help it. I can't. I asked Jaffe to try to behave, but if he lets stuff slip, that's just Jaffe. Like, you know, it took a while. ILP was probably 2 years old before I stopped cussing on the show.
Really?
Yeah, I cussed a lot on the show. And, you know, it was just something that Cog was very strong about. He's like, look, if we want to be more of a family show where, you know, executives are willing to come on, like, we got to be in that kind of thing. So here we go. PG-13 starting now. What's going on, Jeffy?
Oh, you muted.
Yeah, you're muted.
This the place?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on, man?
I will do my best. I heard what you were saying. It's not. I was just raised this way, to talk like. I mean, I wasn't raised intentionally to speak like this, but my mom cussed like a sailor, and it was never really a negative thing. And we would talk about it. It's like, well, why is this word worse than this word? You know, and it just kind of became my vocabulary. So it's, you know, people are like, Jeffy's always trying to be so edgy. I'm like, dude, I'm 52. Number one, I outgrew trying to be edgy in junior high. Number two, if I'm going to try to be edgy, I ain't doing it by saying, ooh, he said a swear word. So I just, you know, It is what it is. What's up, fellas? How are you?
What you doing, Jeff?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm kind of annoyed. I was on Colin Moriarty Last Stand Media today, and my fucking computer took a dump. We were having a great conversation for Constellations. It was me and him and a couple other people. And then my C drive just got all messed up. So I got it triaged until I take my computer in tomorrow. But I'm kind of annoyed. But other than that, it's good to be talking to you guys.
Yeah, it's been a chaotic thing, man. You know, I felt like when it comes to this particular topic, ain't no one more qualified to speak on this than you, because you was in that PlayStation. Yeah, especially because it come from you. You was in that PlayStation ecosystem for a long time.
Yeah, and, I mean, there are people who are certainly more qualified, but nobody's talking. But what I will tell you is really been interesting is since I started talking about this based on the information I got, I've had people reach out. Like I just had an individual reach out, a longtime Sony person, and they just started info dumping their takes on, Jim Ryan and what happened to Shaun Layden, Connie, the whole fucking Hee Haw gang is in there. And I said, well, is it okay if I talk about this? And he says, yeah, obviously don't mention my name. I said, fine. Of course I would never do that. But it's weird because I don't consider myself a journalist at all. I don't want to be one. I'm not chasing that dragon. I'm very happy being the guy that just sits on his butt and blabs about news that other people break. I'm totally okay with that. But in this case, I have this data and it's like, I don't know what I do with it. Like it's one guy at Sony and he reached out to me, this new guy, the other has been corroborated by multiple Sony people, but this is one guy. And I'm like, well, do I share it? I mean, I'm not breaking it as news. If I contextualize it as, hey, here's a guy from Sony who would know, here's what he said. I assume the fans would want to know that. But maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't spill it. So I'm always struggling because I don't really know where that line is.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, Definitely, man. Like when it comes to, I have a lot. Like when it comes to that's what I'm looking for. The Avowed co-op situation. I was told about that.
What? The what?
There used to be a co-op in Avowed. But
Avowed.
Okay. I was told about that years ago.
Okay.
When it was originally, sometimes you'll have like info that you like, I could really eat off of this. I could really eat off of this.
So why would you not eat off of it? I mean, what is
because I was asked not to say anything.
Well, that's different. Yeah. I would never spoil. Like, I won't ever spoil a game I know is in development. Or if somebody tells me something and says you can't use that, oh yeah, of course, that's totally different. Now this guy reached out and said, I said, well, can I use it? He goes, yeah. Just don't say my name, but you can say that I longtime Sony guy. I'm like, all right.
Jaffe, I've literally hit people up that's told me something like, yo, IGN's talking about it. Can I please make a video now?
Yeah.
He's at that point, it's fair game. Like, but I can't talk as I knew. I had to talk it as like reporting from
breaking news,
else.
Right. Understood.
So,
but anyway, I was annoyed because a lot of I'm not annoyed anymore. I'm kind of getting used to it. I'm getting better at not reading the comments. I'm getting better at sort of removing myself from the places where people do happen to talk about things that I may be saying or whatever. Other than our own personal Discord, and if somebody reaches out to me personally, because it's just it's nonsensical, like you guys were saying. I mean, it's like, and I'm sure you guys, I don't know if you guys seem very beloved, but maybe you get this as well. But on one day I'm the hero because I'm saying what they want, and the other day I'm the bad guy because I'm saying something else. And I'm like, you know what? If that's the kind of friend you are, it's called a fair weather friend. I want nothing to do with you. Don't worry about me. You're not going to like what I say. My stuff is nowhere near as noble as this. I'm not even trying to paint it, but it reminds me, I just tweeted the ACLU is actually saying they're defending Trump because of this gag order, and they hate Trump. They're like, no one has done more to destroy civil rights and First Amendment rights in America than Trump. This is what they were saying. But he also has a right to his constitutional rights, and he's an American citizen, and this gag order is, so that idea of like, just because you disagree with somebody doesn't make them the enemy. They're just, a lot of us are just sharing, I have PlayStation, I have Xbox, I have Switch, I have PC. I got an Ouya somewhere in the closet over there. I don't know where it is. I just love games, man. So it's weird, but I don't know. Maybe they're just trolling. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. It's just when it comes down to like this whole PlayStation fiasco stuff, I just want your personal opinion. We've never really talked about this, going off of the Colony situation, the Jim Ryan situation. It does look like maybe their games as a service, some of them might be in development hell. We had the whole factions put on ice. That one was defunded. I can't remember what that one was. Do you think
a deviation game?
Yeah. Do you think that the games as a service model is in jeopardy? You think all of PlayStation is hurting right now?
I think the entire industry at the financial level of AAA and console, other than Nintendo, I think Microsoft and Sony are having in a lot of ways a great year, but I think they are absolutely sailing into very uncharted waters, because on the Sony end, Shaun Layden made it clear, and you can't argue with the man's math. It's math, or as the British say, maths, idiots. But you can't argue with it, which is like this stuff. Forget Game Pass being sustainable. You can't keep spending more and more, up to $300 million on these games.
That's crazy.
Every now and then, maybe you'll be a GTA 6 and you can, but the vast majority, even Sony and Microsoft, there's a point where it's like, okay, this isn't working. So there's definitely some kind of exploration of what that part of the company's future looks like, because clearly they're not going to stop making these kinds of games. They're wonderful. Right. Spider-Man 2, 2.5 million in a day, great game. I love that game. And on this flip side, I don't think a lot of people look at what Jim Ryan was doing at the beginning with games as a service. I think most people said, yeah, that makes sense. Because that's kind of what was working. And what people didn't realize, including me, was that it's just more lightning in a bottle than simply engineering a games as a service product and being off to the races. You may be able to engineer one that is successful enough to stay in business for a couple of years, but the idea of the Fortnite money, the Among Us lightning in a bottle, that stuff is, you can't engineer that, and or if you can, we need AI to tell us how, because no one knows the formula. So as all these games service games have come out and collapsed recently, hell, tomorrow they're what did Xbox announce today? The what's the game they have open beta tomorrow? Cosplay. The
finals.
The finals looks amazing, great destruction. But if somebody were to tell me that'll be gone in 4 months, I go, man, I believe it.
Yeah.
Not because it doesn't look amazing, but because that's kind of the way it seems to go for 90% of these dang things. So look what I did. Dang. I said, dang, I caught myself. I guess what I would say though is that Sony is, I think, unless they have stuff they haven't revealed that solves this, up against the wall when it comes to how do we do games as a service and how do we continue what we're brilliant at moving forward with the economy, not like the world economy, but like the video game things getting more expensive and no new gamers coming in. How do we solve that? Xbox's problem is not as similar, but it's like, okay, well, we have to solve the problem of how do we keep people from churning from Game Pass? And we're not good at the AAA Sony stuff. They're just not. They never have been as good as Sony, in my opinion, at the production value part that certain gamers seem to love. But they're great at other things. And as we saw with Starfield, which I loved, that shot Game Pass subs through the roof in September or whenever it was. But then the question is, what's next, right? And I don't know if they have the internal management to be able to get to a cadence of genuinely exciting, even if it's small, like a Hi-Fi Rush content every month to keep people from going, okay, well, I got Game Pass for Starfield. 2 months in, I'm done. Like, that's how I use the Ubisoft Plus subscription model, right? Like, I think the Crew, by the way, Crew 2 Motorfest or whatever it's called, is great. It's excellent. It's a wonderful game. But I'm going to get in December or January Ubisoft Plus for a month and play that a bunch, Assassin's Creed, Avatar, and then cancel it. I don't need to own those games. And so what's next? I think that's Microsoft's biggest problem. And I know they're trying to fill it by buying all these studios, which is great, which is why they should go hire Connie Booth, because you need somebody in there. They haven't proven they have the management at a Xbox level to kind of make these things really good and coming out frequently. And I just don't think they have that experience.
I would agree with you. My biggest concern with expanding the way they have been is I don't feel like they sit on the expansion they already have to like really like dry out the kinks and make sure, communications well, really communicate to every studio. Because if you're buying like 8-9 studios and then you buy another 10 like a year and a half later, did you really talk to the ones you just bought before? And I feel like that's how stuff like Redfall happened. And it's just like I do personally feel like hopefully after
I'm sorry. One sec.
Okay. After the ABK deal, they'll go into this bag and they'll really work on, making sure that the communication is well between everyone.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
Was stealing my Halloween candy.
Hey, I've asked you a question, David.
Yeah.
You was just talking about PlayStation. They're having, well, not just PlayStation, but the gaming industry in general with these AAA big budget games,
Yeah.
Like you look at Callisto Protocol. I thought it was a fantastic game. $162 million budget. The game didn't do so well. And then we see the studios like the Glenn Schofield left, and what's next?
Well, he didn't leave. I think he pretty much was asked to leave. I don't think
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. We know the PlayStation does single player games, story driven. Their games are absolutely great. What can they do in the future to maintain? Because like you mentioned, the games as a service thing is a gamble. From your report, I mean, like from what you said earlier, a lot of the studios, first party studios, they're not feeling that. What can they do at this point?
Well, I think ultimately it's a good thing for the medium because I think, and I know a number of PlayStation hardcore fans won't like this, and there's nothing I can do about that. Like it, don't like it, but I think Nintendo does show the way. I'm not saying make Nintendo games, like make little kiddie games. Sony has tried that before. They've made some wonderful all ages games, like Puppeteer was phenomenal. Sackboy Big Adventure on PS5 is excellent. But I mean more in terms of Nintendo starts with the gameplay at almost like in an abstract level. Like if you ever hear the guys who made Splatoon talk about where that came from, it didn't start with let's paint the environment and let's be squids and all it. That all came after they knew they had something mechanically fun. And so to me, as much as I know a lot of people, including me, like these big budget, cinematic games, and those are not going to go anywhere. There'll be less of them, but those will be there. And there'll also be the AA cinematic single player games and all that. End of the day, though, movies and TV and books tell stories great. Video games do gameplay great. And Nintendo seems to be able to survive and sustain and continually release beloved products, even though people who they're the same. They're not the same. The IP is the same. But the gameplay is not the same. I think Sony ultimately is going to need to pivot, or any of these companies is going to need to start going, the bread and butter of this industry, of this medium, is interactivity. And Sony has been putting, because it's been incredibly lucrative, and I get it, they've been putting so much stock in the production value and in the flash and in the narrative and all these other things. And it's not that the gameplay hasn't been good, but they need to be able to stand on the gameplay first if they're going to want to continue. Because I think what's happened is, like Layden said, you're not seeing more console gamers coming into the ecosystem, but the budget's getting bigger. And so where's the money going to come from? Right? I think Returnal is a great example. I don't know what Returnal's cost was to make. And I don't know if they made their money back or whatever. And I thought it was a little, tuned a little too hard, but whatever. That's a brilliant freaking game, though. Wonderful game. And that's a game where clearly gameplay comes first. It had a great, cool story, amazing graphics, all that, but it was modular. They did, what? Is this OnlyFans? I didn't pay for that, but I will. Oh, now I'm paying for it, baby. Come on now. Come on now. Attic, what's his name?
Oh, snap.
But I mean, I think like Returnal is a great example. I know, whatever, fanboys, I don't care. I mean, I do it. It's annoying, but it's like, steer your ship into the realm or into the current that the medium does best. And I think that's why Nintendo doesn't have the world's best graphics at all, but they're still selling bucket loads. So that's what I would
selling
say.
like crazy. Selling like crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. I'm sorry. Like one more quick question, because this is the first time I've ever been on with you.
You can ask whatever I don't care. And I guess that's why you asked me to come on to talk, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's not like you have a limit of questions.
Because
my chat GPT-4, you've reached your allotted.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it fascinates me. I'm 47. I'm a little bit younger than you, but I've been gaming a long time. And I always think about, games from the 90s and things like that. I thought about like Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. Fantastic game. That game had 8 developers, right? Then I want to ask you, God of War, how many developers created that game?
God of War?
Yes.
God of War, roughly internally, we had probably about 40, give or take, a little more, a little less. And then obviously we had like the visual arts and services group in San Diego helping us with the cinematics. And we had some outsource work being done with some writers and stuff. So all together, there was probably 75 people, but full time for the whole 2.5 years, you were probably looking at about 45 to 50.
Yeah, so I asked that question to say this. So you think about that game right there, amazing game, right? 75 people, 2.5 years of development. Now the average AAA game is what, 200, 300 people?
More. Oh, well, it depends which. I mean, Ubisoft and Rockstar go well beyond that. I mean, they're in the thousands.
So it's like, how did it get there? Like, how did it? I mean, I understand that the games are bigger, these open world games. I know the graphics are better, things like that. But how did it get from a game like God of War that still holds up? I know the graphics isn't what it was back then now, but the game still holds up to a AAA game having 500 people developing it in like a 5-year time cycle. Like, how did it get there? And
it got
how
there.
do we fix it? I mean,
well, it's already being fixed. It's just the question of, will the people that currently love the way games have been since PS3 came on the market with the cinematic stuff, will they stick around as the ship rights itself? Because at least from my perspective of it, I mean, Sony's weird because Sony's to blame for it, but at the same time, Sony has delivered such beloved content over the last couple of decades that you can't really be mad at them. But part of their one of the arrows in their quiver was production value and graphics and motion capture and real actors and all the things that not only were instantly that you could get walking through a Best Buy. It's like, well, that looks better than that. It's like, yeah, because they paid for that and the technology let them do that. So, but that's where a number of gamers got trained with these expectations that a game is a movie in essence, in terms of production value and cost and all that stuff. And it just kept working until, I guess, eventually people at Sony said, okay, that variance between what we make and what we spend used to be acceptable. But now, even though we're profitable, we're taking these big risk gambles, $200-300 million, and we'll make a huge profit at times. But look at these guys over here who only spent $30 million to make Fall Guys or whatever. And they've, so business people are going to look at it and go, well, this may not be working anymore. So I that's what I think. And that's what Shaun was saying ages ago. And I just think the good news is, if you aren't tied to production value and you love games, there's no better time to be gaming than right now. I mean, the stuff that's out there at the AAA level, the AA, and the indie is amazing. I mean, a lot of people poo-poo it, but like Dave the Diver is one of the best dang games of the year. And people are like, I don't know what that is. It's like, yeah, because you only go to the PlayStation store or the Xbox store and look at the front page, and you don't actually allow yourself to eat at the whole Vegas buffet. You're just going right to the lobster.
Absolutely.
Wow. That was dumb. But no,
I get the analogy.
So that's what I think. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was told too that, do you think that marketing is one of the things that really, put millions and millions and millions of dollars on that? Or do you think like it's both? Because to my mindset, it's like both. Yeah, it's both. But do you think that marketing is mainly used for, returning IPs, or do you think it's something that's necessary to the degree that's being marketed? Because you see certain games not getting the type of marketing that other games, but they're outselling the games with the big marketing.
I think you would have to have an awareness, which I don't, of sort of what is the return on investment for being in the conversation. Like Spider-Man 2 did not need to spend the money for a beautiful 3D billboard in Times Square, but it was gorgeous, right? People talked about it. They didn't need to spend the money to somewhere, I forget where they did it, Australia maybe, hire an actual truck. But it was cool, and I'm glad they did it, and that's fun. And I'm not saying that's where most of their cost goes anyway. I'm just saying that gets them in the conversation, and clearly they think there's value there. But I don't even know, like you said, word of mouth and the internet is so much more powerful now. I mean, where games come from and where these hits come from. Here's the only thing I would say, and I'm just shooting off the cuff here. I don't really know. I'm not a marketing guy, but my guess would be lightning in a bottle can happen, whether that's Five Nights at Freddy's or whatever, any of the stuff we've been talking about. But you're really at the mercy of the lightning, and you don't really know. You can't really build a business model around that. Whereas marketing can at least come in and say, well, we can't control the winds for your sailing ship, but we can affect them more than doing nothing. And I think in that, I certainly know there's a great value to it, but like there was never any chance in hell Spider-Man 2 wasn't going to sell well. Right. But I don't know. I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV anymore that's live that has commercials. I don't know if video games are spending a lot of money on TV ads anymore, and if they even matter. I mean, who watches commercials anymore?
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
what I
on
was.
YouTube, but
I
When-
think only
when-
sporting events where you'll
Yeah,
see your
when I
commercial.
worked at Dish Network, I've said this a couple times. Like they would let you sit on like these, these meetings, because they try to educate you to be a better, agent. And part of the, that was years ago. That was like 2019, 17, 18. They were already going away. If you wasn't back then, The Walking Dead commercial slots, or you weren't, football commercial slots, NBA, the Super Bowl, like they weren't really spending that.
right.
The money has shifted way more towards YouTube, TikTok, influencers, because they have realized that is selling more actual, like they what our person called it, they called like Super Bowl stuff, like big commercial stuff. They called it shotgun marketing, where you're shooting into a giant crowd hoping you hit someone. And that isn't the marketing that's being effective, because when that marketing was good is when the internet was at its height. I mean, is before the internet was where it is now.
Well, yeah, and even before streaming, people had TiVo. So even though you would just skip all those commercials or your DVR or whatever you had, and even then they were going, okay, this is going away. We have to figure out how we're going to deal with this. But yeah, I mean, it's all changing, and I think Sony will survive if Sony survives. Sony and Xbox and Nintendo, none of these companies deserve to live to fight another day. If Sony goes away, and they won't, after PS5, what an amazing contribution to the canon they've made. Same with Xbox, same with Nintendo. But, both of those companies, in my opinion, are really, hopefully they have some real visionaries in those companies. And I do think Phil Spencer, I love his vision. I don't like his management, but I love his vision for what he's bringing to Xbox. So maybe he'll be able to pull it off, because you need that kind of money to pull off that vision. But maybe Sony's got more of a, hey guys, I figured out how we could bring the budgets down and still make these crazy commercial games. I mean, that's what they're going to have to do if they want to stay at that kind of, the kind of games they make primarily. But then the news look, my understanding is Sony is very few people anymore at Sony are thinking the games as a service route that Ryan put into play is actually working and is going to work, is what I am hearing. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that from 3 or 4 people.
I know
and so in that, what are they going to do? I don't know. But I think there's real creative people there, man. I mean, there's Neil Druckmann, Scott Rhodey, Connie was up there, but there's the guys at Insomniac. I mean, look, I don't know what the budget was for Spidey 2, but I know that it surprised the heck out of me, because I thought it was just going to be more of the same. Mm-hmm. And they were able to take that formula and really, in my opinion, add so much more interesting stuff than just like, it's a new coat of paint. They really do really cool things. Their crowd scenes in those games, the pacing in those games, the narrative in those games. So maybe Insomniac has the secret sauce, assuming Spider-Man didn't cost $280 million. If it did, then I'll shut up, because I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
All right, so I don't know if you want to answer this, because I'm sure people hit you with the God of War questions all the time, but we got someone.
Answer whatever you guys want.
Someone was asking a question. He said, question for Jaffe, since you are a God of War creator, in your opinion, do you think the 2018 God of War deserved to win Game of the Year over Red Dead 2, considering it won more categories?
I think Game of the Year is it's a dumb thing. I like it. I like to hear individuals Game of the Year like that, because but I've said this before on a number of podcasts. I mean, I've been on these nominating committees when I was kind of working in the industry, and I've been, voting on them and all this. It's quite meaningless. Not everybody plays every game. Politics play a point.
That's what I was about to say. A lot of gaming politics.
I want to work with this guy, so I'm going to tell him I voted for his game and I did or I didn't. I'm not saying they're totally useless, but the idea of this was, I think, the only way, if you really care about what the game of the year was, I don't even know if that's valid. I think the best, if you're really only caring not about marketing but truth, you would say we're going to do a top 5 games of what are we now? 2023. So we would go back 5 years. So we would let history exist. What holds up? What was just hype? What was marketing? And so you're giving out those top 5 games of the year 5 years after the fact. That's like the honest way to actually make that decision. Because how many movies? I mean, you really think Gandhi was a better movie than E.T.? You really think Raiders of the Lost Ark didn't have as much cultural impact as Chariots of Fire? Are you kidding me? You think Annie Hall made more sense to win the Oscar than Star Wars, which has created an entire generation of geeks that are, doing their own stuff now? So my point is, ultimately, the question is, it's Game of the Year's. Ultimately, you can't really talk about it like it's some real important thing. But that said, I would say God of War 2018, I loved it, thought it was phenomenal. I rarely finish games. I finished it. I thought what Corey did and the team did was amazing, very clever. Didn't like Ragnarok all that much. Thought it was wonderful, polished,
I thought
beautiful.
the ending completely dropped the ball.
I couldn't finish it. I thought the pacing was really slow.
Yeah.
But Red Dead I haven't played. I know, because people always tell me the opening's too slow. So I'm just like, maybe I'll play it later. But look, people in 2005 said Resident Evil 4 should have won Game of the Year, but the only reason it didn't is Capcom didn't submit it. And I'm like, I'd buy that.
What was Game of the Year in that year?
God of War.
Yeah,
Right.
So, I mean, did we get by on a technicality? Maybe. That's okay. I mean, I'm down. I got the trophy back there. I'm fine.
Man, I still God of War 3, man. That's still the GOAT to me. Like,
right.
I loved 18. I thought 18 was better than Ragnarok because I thought Ragnarok
18 was better than Ragnarok.
Ragnarok was miles worse than 18.
Well, 18 had the advantage of having this very cool, clever rethink of what it could be from a gameplay standpoint, to a character standpoint, to a tone standpoint. But once you pull that rabbit out of the hat, you need another one, because the game itself, the moment to moment, is really good, but it's just kind of like, all right. And they didn't have another rabbit, in my opinion.
I'm sure you could speak, like, closing a trilogy is really hard, doing it effectively. Like,
I don't know. I mean, it's just telling a story. I assume they had a plan. I didn't finish it. I heard people were very disappointed with Ragnarok itself. Like, they were expecting a big battle, and it was just this kind of like poof. But I didn't get there, so I don't know.
Yeah. So, I think when it comes down to it, I do think PlayStation, I'm just curious, are they pivoting completely away from the games as a service? Because to me, these games still got to come out. They spent too much money. Like, I'd be surprised if any of them gets canceled.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I think certainly you buy Bungie, you buy games as a service, right? So, I mean, that's happening. What's their thing called? Marathon?
Yeah.
Unless it's just craps the bed. I don't think that's going anywhere. Factions, I have heard what you guys have heard. No one has come to me. I've heard a few people say, oh, it's officially canceled. People say, oh, it's on pause. I don't know. But, I mean, it's, I don't think games as a service will ever be dead. It's a viable market. But do I think now, Alexa, stop. Do I think now that these guys are seeing the rubber meeting the road with a lot of these service games collapsing? I think maybe now they're rethinking, oh, should we really be doing 10 of these? So I don't think they're not going to have them. I just don't think maybe they're going to be as all in as they were. The question is, what does that mean? Does the money go back and continue to spend $350 million on The Last of Us Part 3, or do they figure out, something else? And I think there are things they could do, and I've talked about it before. And I don't know if I'm right, but if I was running that company or PlayStation, I would try a couple of things that they haven't tried yet, but we'll see what they do.
I got a question for you, Jeff. You think Starfield going to get nominated for Game of the Year this year?
It should definitely be nominated for writing or story or whatever, however they quantify that. Game of the Year. I mean, certainly Xbox Game of the Year, but like overall, I loved it. One of my favorite games of the year, and one of my favorite single player game personally that I've ever played. But as a game, it was great, but it wasn't Tears of the Kingdom revolutionary. It wasn't Spider-Man, even though the story in Starfield is much better than the story in Spider-Man. The overall package in Spider-Man, I think, trumps Starfield. So It might, but I don't think you'll see it up there. I think you're going to see Tears of the Kingdom and Spider-Man 2 and Dave the Diver, and you may not see Dave the Diver, but Baldur's Gate 3, of course, and there's like one other one people keep floating, but I'm forgetting it. I'm blanking. Maybe Mario Wonder, but I don't think Mario Wonder is. I like it. It's really great, and there are moments of just pure magic in it. But I don't play it and go, "Oh my god!" Like when I played Yoshi's Island for the first time, and that's not nostalgia. I wasn't a kid. I was like in my 20s. I was like, "Okay, this is brilliant." But Wonder, I think, has moments of that. But overall, it's just a really good, solid Mario game. So maybe the Mario slot. Maybe that final slot is going to go between Starfield and Mario, and we'll just see what happens. I have no idea.
So we're going to go ahead and be closing this out here. Don't want to take too much of your time, Jeff.
No, I'm going to run. Do you guys have anything else I need to respond to? Anybody pay you?
No, nothing for.
Okay, I don't want to leave if people have paid to ask me a question. Okay,
let me see what he says about this one real quick. Dwayne with the $10 super chat. Let's be honest here. Where do you guys see PlayStation in the future? Because I truly believe financially they will not be able to continue much anymore at this rate they're going. I think Dave kind of touched on that a little bit. They do need a restructure in some way.
Yeah, I don't think we know. They haven't announced it. I think there's a lot of plays that you could run and say, let's try this, let's try that, let's try this. But I think what seems to be becoming very clear is staying the course, at least for the number of games they make that are like that, is probably not going to be as plentiful. But then again, I mean, look at it. Look. I understand Factions was supposed to be this year, but good Lord, Sony announced something. Spider-Man 2 is brilliant. I love it. But could you put, again, here, let me put in a $9.99. $9.99.
At this point, she's coming over here just
show feet.
Addict.
But yeah, I think at this point, what is Sony coming out with? I'm sure they'll have a lot. I'm not saying they're screwed. They have nothing. That's what people will take from the narrative. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it is weird that you've got this number one first party platform and we have no idea what is after Spider-Man 2. I mean, we know Helldivers, but I don't think Helldivers.
Actually, we think Wolverine's coming 2025 probably.
I think Wolverine is Christmas 2024. I think it's launching with the PS Pro. I'm making this shit up. I don't know. But I mean, I think based on schedule and based on how fast Insomniac seems to work, maybe you would get a Christmas Pro with Wolverine and not package, but I mean with release time. I think you're going to get GTA, which you're going to want to play on the Pro because Microsoft has said we're not doing a refresh. So the best place to play GTA 6, which very well may come out next Christmas, is going to be on the Pro if you're talking consoles. And then obviously you're going to have Xbox with all the new Activision stuff and a bunch of other stuff. So I think the war next Christmas, which is not even a war, the joy of next Christmas is going to be, you're going to have so many great games coming out your butthole that I don't think you're going to know what to do with yourself.
Yeah, but I appreciate you coming through here.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
I'm serious though. The invite is definitely there for ILP.
Well, you guys just reach out and say, "Hey, Jaffe, this is the Sunday we'd want you to come on to talk about X."
Sunday.
Okay. So hit me up on a Discord. Give me all the details, like when, what time, all that, and let's make it happen.
All right.
You guys be safe. Be well. Thanks, man. I'll see you soon. Thanks for having me, guys.
You too, man. You have a good afternoon.
Great David Jaffe stopped by the Addicts show, man. That was fun. That's my first time being on with them, man.
I've been in a
I know you have. I'll say the first time I've ever been on with them.
Let me go ahead and refinish these super chats. Spartan 661 with the $2 super chat. Dirt. The narrative is Xbox has great games again.
Oh, okay. Sorry, bro. I was a little slow, but thank you. Yeah, absolutely. They do. I'm a little slow. Sorry.
And then shout out to God Emperor Selfa King with
What's
the
up,
5 gifted chat and the gifts.
God Selfa King. What's up, man?
Put some logos in the chat to celebrate.
Put some emojis in there, man.
Yeah, put some crests in the chat, man. Appreciate the 5 members. He has installed 5 of you with the hold the line emotes. You have the hold the line emote in that chat now. I expect to see that IOP this Sunday. Dirt, I'm gonna be real with you. Yeah. This Sunday, especially this stuff David Jaffe putting out, I don't know what we're gonna do with King. I really don't. Like,
I can't wait.
King is already normally man. King will like put the laughing emoji when we put links in our IOP chat. He made a voice chat. And he's like, I told you.
King is the man, bro. Cause like he was on WBG a couple weeks ago, and it was actually our biggest ever WBG, bro. We almost
I saw that. It had like 1,000 live viewers.
Yeah, we almost at 10K, man. So shout out to King Dave, man.
Let me get this super chat real quick for we head out. $10 super chat from the Angry Therapist. Great show, guys. Dirt Addict, this was fire. I appreciate it, man. We try to give you guys a good show every week.
Yeah, man.
We try to. Sometimes we don't. But in my eyes, we do every week. But that's just so I don't know who to send you guys to. See, Carl be following these channels and I have no clue who they are.
Hey man, who the hell called me King Dave?
Oh my god,
what black bald head guy with beards?
We
all look like
Jez Cord with the 10. Is that pound? I don't know, man.
No, that's pound, euros. That's euros.
10,
right
10 euro super chat. Butts. You're ridiculous, Jez.
Hey Jez, what's up, buddy? I've never been on a show with Jez either, but,
Jez, you got to go on Dirt Show, Jez.
Yeah, man, you can swear you
got to go on Dirt on Dirt Show, Jez. It'd be funny, man. I'd like to see that. Jez, I'm looking at you.
Jez probably like, what is this fam? These Xbox fanboys over here.
Where you at, Jez? I'm looking at you.
Hey, y'all, I'm leaving my channel in the chat. Check it out. Got my Dark Man podcast tomorrow. I'm going to have some fun. Going to have a lot of fun. The Xbox dropped some numbers, the stuff for PlayStation. Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of fun tomorrow. Stop by, guys.
I don't know what this HP podcast 248 is, but Colin has followed them, so I assume they're good to some degree. Go over there and drop a tell them another super chat. Let me grab it real quick. $2 super chat from Hector, the Macho Man. Hit the like button, you turkis.
That's the homie right
there. It doesn't sound right unless you read it. It doesn't sound right unless you say.
Hector, the Macho Man with the 2. Hit the like button, you turkeys. Your job, mother. Ooh, watch your mouth, boy.
Oh my God. We need you to play that game again.
Deathloop.
Yeah.
Who am y'all, sucker? Who am your ass? Come over here, boy.
Definitely go over there. Follow Dirt, man. Follow Dirt. Dirt be putting in this work. Even with Jaffe coming in, we still didn't go past really an hour and a half.
Yeah, man. Great job. Because the NBA season started last night, but my team plays tonight, and I want to be in front of the damn television. So thank you, brother.
All right, so let me send you guys over there. I hope you guys. I don't know this dude, so keep that in mind. I probably should send you guys to him.
Let me see. Let me see who it is.
But I'm willing to give people chances. Okay, yeah. I'm willing to give people chances, and we're going to give this Ben the handsome dude a chance. So go over there. Tell him the Addict Show sent you. Tell him Dirt and Addict sent you. And I hope you guys have a good day. We out. Peace. My girl says peace.